Unity and love for our country have seen the illegal sanctions failing to break or divide us as a people. Therefore, no amount of pressure, falsehoods, and vilification of our country will derail the evident people-centered development trajectory.
A quiet but serious shift is taking shape in Southern Africa, ladies and gentlemen. It is not loud, it is not rushed, yet it carries weight far beyond borders. Zimbabwe is carefully opening a new chapter in how it connects with the world. Ladies and gentlemen, this chapter is built on patience, long talks, and of course, clear purpose. At the center of this move stands a global group that is actually reshaping economic ties across continents, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the steps taken now may change trade path, founding roots, and of course diplomatic balance for years ahead. This story is not about conflict, ladies and gentlemen. It is about positioning, it is about choice, it is about a nation deciding how it wishes to stand in a fast-changing global order. Zimbabwe has announced stronger efforts to join BRICS. Yes, you heard me clearly. Okay, so BRICS is a group of major emerging economies. The bloc includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and some countries. In recent years, ladies and gentlemen, BRICS has actually gained more attention as countries seek wider options beyond traditional global systems. Zimbabwe sees this group as a space for deeper economic links and fairer global engagement. The message came from Zimbabwe's Foreign Affairs and Traditional International Trade Minister, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Amon. He spoke to the media with calm clarity. He explained that Zimbabwe wants stronger integration into the global economy. He said BRICS offers room for trade growth, investment ties, and of course the development support. He also stressed that the aim is not isolation but connection. Professor Amon also shared a key detail that President Emmerson Mnangagwa has actually given him a clear task. He is to lead Zimbabwe's full engagement with all BRICS member states. Yes, so this means direct talks. This means formal outreach. This means serious preparation. Zimbabwe has already approached every BRICS country or state. The goal is to join the group in any category allowed under its rules. This effort anyway did not actually start with today, ladies and gentlemen. Zimbabwe formally applied to join BRICS last year already. At the same time, it also was applied to join the new development bank. Yes, this bank is actually linked to BRICS and of course support the development project. It focuses on infrastructure, energy, and growth needs in member states. Zimbabwe's bid has already received public backing. Russia, South Africa, and Brazil have all expressed support. This backing signals that Zimbabwe's request is being taken seriously within the bloc, ladies and gentlemen. It also reflects existing diplomatic ties, especially within the global south. The government frames this move as part of economic balance. Zimbabwe wants many partners, not just a few. So it wants options, it wants to widen its economic space, ladies and gentlemen. This approach, reflects a belief that development grows stronger when links are diverse and of course stable. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, the country just marked an important national moment. Zimbabwe just celebrated, the 38th anniversary of Unity Day. This particular day remembers or reminds or recalls a turning point in national history. It marks the Unity Accord signed in 1987. Ladies and gentlemen, that agreement brought together former rivals and laid a foundation for peace. As Zimbabwe looks outward to global groups, ladies and gentlemen, like BRICS, its leadership is also looking inward. Now let us discuss unity as the foundation of national direction. So as Zimbabwe strengthens its global outreach, ladies and gentlemen, its leadership is also reinforcing a core national principles. So that principle is unity. On Unity Day, ladies and gentlemen, President Mnangagwa, that is the president for Zimbabwe, addressed the nation with a steady and firm message. He described unity as sacred. He said it is not open to debate. He said it is the country's greatest strength. Unity Day marks the signing of the Unity Accord on December 22, 1987. This accord was actually signed by then President Robert Gabriel Mugabe, and Vice President Joshua Nkomo. At the same time, ladies and gentlemen, Zimbabwe faced deep divisions. So the accord or the agreement actually helped end political conflict. It opened a path towards peace and cooperation. Over time, it became a symbol of national healing. So President Mnangagwa spoke of his history with respect and honor. He said the accord or agreement actually remains a strong foundation for peace, progress, and development. He described it as a guide for today's generation. He reminded citizens that unity does not mean sameness. It means shared purpose and, of course, mutual respect or honor. In his address, ladies and gentlemen, the president warned against actions that create division. He said division breeds hatred and disharmony. He said such forces weakens a nation from within. He also stressed that no external or internal pressure can actually break Zimbabwe's collective resolve when unity is protected. He called on all citizens to recommit to guarding and, of course, promoting unity. He framed this duty as shared. It belongs to workers, leaders, youth, and elders alike. In his words, ladies and gentlemen, unity is a pillar of nationhood. Without it, progress cannot actually last. Yes, so this message connects closely with Zimbabwe's global, ambitions. The government, links internal peace with external credibility. A country that stands united, speak with a clearer voice abroad. Stability at home creates trust with partners. This trust matters when seeking entry into global economic groups like BRICS, ladies and gentlemen. So President Mnangagwa, that's the current president for Zimbabwe, also connected unity to measurable progress. He pointed to economic reforms under National Development Strategy 1. Okay, he referenced the launch of National Development Strategy 2. These plans aim to guide growth across many sectors. He also highlighted record agriculture output. He mentioned growth in minor production. He spoke of expanding manufacturing capacity. He also noted rising tourist arrivals. Each of these gains, he said, rest on peace and, of course, stability. So the president explained that progress does not actually appear by chance. It grows in calm conditions. It grows where rules are actually steady. Unity supports all of this, ladies and gentlemen. So this view presents unity not as a slogan but as a tool. It is shown as a working force that allows policies to take roots. It allows long plans to continue without disruption, ladies and gentlemen. It allows engagement with partners like BRICS to be consistent. As Zimbabwe, pursues wider global ties, ladies and gentlemen, its leaders are signaling that, national cohesion remains central. Now let's discuss linking global ambition with domestic stability. So Zimbabwe's approach combines two clear paths. One path looks outward, the other looks inward, ladies and gentlemen. Both move at the same time. Now, the outward path seeks new economic partners. Okay, so the inward path strengthened national cohesion. Okay, together they formed a single direction, ladies and gentlemen. So the effort to join BRICS reflects a wider global trend. Many countries or states are seeking the balance in their foreign relations. They want access to new markets. They want diplomatic finance that fit their needs, ladies and gentlemen. So they want platforms where their voices carry weight. Zimbabwe's application fits within this pattern. The new development bank plays a major or key role in this vision, ladies and gentlemen. It supports infrastructure, energy, and development projects. These areas or zones align with Zimbabwe's national plans. Roads, power, industry, and agriculture require long-term funding. So the bank offers an alternative source for support. So support from Russia, South Africa, and Brazil as diplomatic weight. South Africa's role is especially notable. It is both BRICS member and regional neighbor. Strong regional ties helps strengthen Zimbabwe's case within the bloc, ladies and gentlemen. At the same time, Zimbabwe is careful with its messaging. Officials emphasize cooperation, not confrontation. Yes, so they actually stress openness, not alignment against others. So this tone reflects a desire for balanced diplomacy. President Mnangagwa's unity message reinforced this balance. Stability signals reliability. Investors and, of course, partners, prefer predictable environment. Unity reduces international shocks. It supports long-term planning. Ladies and gentlemen, so National Development Strategy 1 focused on economic reform and recovery. It addressed productivity and, of course, governance. So National Development Strategy 2 builds on this base. It aims for growth, innovation, and of course, resilience. So these plans need was no time. Yes, need was no time. So they actually need was no calm conditions also. Zimbabwe's leaders, okay, repeatedly link peace to progress. So they actually was to present unity as a condition for what's not success. This view frames social cohesion as economic what's not capital. It also frames political calm as a development asset. Ladies and gentlemen, now let's quickly discuss a path built on patience and what's not purpose. Zimbabwe's current direction tells a measures was not story. It is actually not what's driven by speed. It is guided, okay, by intent. The effort to join was not BRICS shows a desire to widen opportunity. The unity message shows a desire to protect social was not fabric, okay. So together these signals present a country seeking balance, okay, balance between old and of course new was not partners, balance between internal strength and of course external was engagement, balance between ambition and of course was not stability, okay. So the unity accord or agreement of 1987 remains a reference point, okay. It reminds citizens of the cost of division. It shows the value of dialogue. It stands as proof that long-term peace can actually follow what's no compromise. President Mnangagwa's words place unity at the center of progress. He actually framed it as an active what's no work, not passive hope. He asked citizens to guard it. He asked leaders to respect it. He asked institutions to uphold or support it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to actually join this by subscribing.